Alright, so welcome YouTube. Today I'm gonna be reviewing everything that McDonald's has in North America as their permanent menu items. Now, I am gonna split these up into groups. Like some parts will have, like some sections, like the breakfast sandwiches will have two different segments, and like the cafe and like the drinks and stuff will have four different segments in the video. But either way, I'll make sure to review everything that McDonald's has to offer. But either way, I'll see you guys when I go to start off the reviews. Alright, so to start off with the cafe drinks, I'm doing the coffees now. For this first part here, I'm doing the hot coffee and the plain iced coffee. So let's take a look at it now. Alright, so there's what the iced coffee looks like, and the regular coffee is just black. So let's start off with the iced coffee first. Right, so overall, it tastes exactly like coffee and creamer, which I expected. But overall, for me, this, like the small one, is tolerable. Like, for me, it's just a well-balanced, flavor of the coffee and from the creamer and liquid sugar in it. But either way, I would give it an 8 out of 10. So let's review the hot coffee now. Right, so overall it tasted how I expected a black coffee would taste. It tastes like dirt, but other than that, I feel like it's just a basic flavor. But I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating. Coffee isn't my favorite thing to drink, so I'll see you in the next segment. I'm gonna be doing the French vanilla iced coffee. So then after that, there's a regular vanilla one, because McDonald's changed vanilla syrups recently from French vanilla to regular vanilla. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this next part, I'm doing the caramel and the mocha one. Now, the mocha, you can special request it, because it's not a actual available flavor of iced coffee. But at least at my McDonald's, if you ask for it, we'll put it in. So but other than that, the caramel and the mocha one is basically looks the same as the regular iced coffee. This one is a little darker, but not by much. So let's start off with the caramel one. Right, so overall it essentially tastes the same as the regular one. Now, there was a real faint caramel flavor to it, but other than that, I didn't really taste it. But I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. So let's move on to the mocha now. Right, so overall, it had a real faint chocolate flavor to it, but other than that, it smoothed out like the coffee flavor. But it definitely tasted the smoothest out of all of the iced coffees I did so far. But other than that, I would give it an 8 out of 10. So I'll see you guys when I go to review both of the vanilla ones. Alright, so YouTube, for this first one, I'm doing the French vanilla one. Now, I know McDonald's is changing to regular vanilla soon, but either way, here's what it looks like, so let's review it now. Right, so overall it mostly has like a creamy, it has like a coffee flavor to it and it tastes good, but for me, I didn't really taste the vanilla in it as much, but either way, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, so I'll see you guys when I review the next one. Alright, so I guess the sugar-free version is still the French vanilla, but I have the regular vanilla flavor for the iced coffee, so let's start off with the regular vanilla first. Right, so overall, it had like a smooth like flavor, but it was mostly just creamer and the coffee flavor that I could taste, but overall I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating. I didn't really taste much difference between I didn't really taste any difference between the French vanilla and the regular vanilla, so let's review the sugar-free one now. Right, so overall for the sugar-free one, it had a little bit of a stronger vanilla flavor to it, but it's not by much. For me, I would just give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating as well. To me, the iced coffees didn't really have much flavor besides like the mocha or the chocolate one, but other than that, I'll see you guys when I go to review the teas now. Alright, so for this part, I'm doing the hot tea, so let's take a look at it now. So there's what it looks like. As you can see, it looks pretty similar to the coffee, although I would say this has a lighter color, so I'll get the lid back on it and review it. Right, so overall this has a stronger tea flavor to it, but for me, I think it could be sweeter, but overall I would probably, next time I get it, I would have to put like some sugar in it, but other than that, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating, so I'll see you guys when I go to review the iced teas. So YouTube, for this one, I'm doing the like the sweet tea and the unsweet tea, but here's the sweet one. It's a little lighter compared to the unsweet, but either way, let's start off with the unsweet tea. Right, so overall it essentially just tasted like the hot tea, but obviously cold, but either way I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating, but let's review the sweet tea now. Right, so overall that one tasted better. It's the sweet tea I'm used to, but overall to me it is better. It's not like overwhelmingly sweet. For me, it's well balanced between the two, so I'll see you guys when I go to review the lemonade tea mixtures. Right, so YouTube, for the lemonade tea mixtures. They are a little lighter, but that I was expecting that, so let's take a look at them now. Alright, so here's the sweet tea one and here's the unsweet, so let's review them now. So I will start off with the unsweet first. Great, so overall it had it combined together real well. For me, both of them was well balanced, but neither one of them, like neither one of the drinks was more dominating than the other, but overall I would give it a 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the sweet tea one. Overall, I enjoy the sweet tea mixture more, but I would give it a 8.5 out of 10. Now, for me, I like sweet tea more than unsweet, but either way, if I can always fix unsweet tea by adding some sugar to it, but other than that, I'll move on to the lemonades. Like the regular lemonades, McDonald's has two different ones. They have one from a concentrate and the other they call it like a premium one, but either way I'll start off with the concentrated one first. Alright, so YouTube, to start off the breakfast sandwiches, I'm doing the chicken ones first. Now, I have a McChicken griddle and biscuit, but I also did a crispy chicken bagel as well. Now, the bagel one isn't an official McDonald's item, it's just something that I made up. It's just something I made myself so I could make the video longer, but the other two are official McDonald's items, but they're at select locations, so let's take a look at them now. Alright, so here's what the griddle and biscuit looks like. Then there's the bagel one, but let's start it off now. Now, before I forget, I ordered these three all at once because I just had the time to do it before I went on my break for lunch. So, well, I guess I should have just said break because it really isn't lunch right now. So let's start off with the griddle. Right, so overall for the chicken griddle, it had a nice mixture of like the griddle buns and the chicken flavor. Now, I would say the griddle buns have a slightly more dominant flavor in it, but overall I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But either way, I did enjoy the sandwich, so let's move on to the chicken biscuit now. Right, so overall for the chicken biscuit one, it had like more of a biscuit taste to it, but I did put extra butter on it since I know biscuits are generally just dry for no reason, but either way it's still a decent sandwich. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating as well. So let's move on to the bagel one now. Right, so overall for the bagel one, I would say the bagel has more of a dominant flavor in it. Now, the bagel itself is one of the more denser, like it is one of the more denser sandwich buns, but overall there really wasn't much flavor besides like the crispy patty, but either way I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, to start off the breakfast sandwiches, I'm doing the egg muffin first, so let's take a look at it. Alright, so there's what it looks like. As you can see, it gets like the Canadian bacon, which I believe is just ham, round egg, and cheese, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall it mostly had an egg flavor to it, but I would say the cheese kinda is like slightly less dominant than the egg flavor, but I couldn't really taste the Canadian bacon in it at all. But overall, this isn't necessarily my favorited McDonald's sandwich, but I would give it like a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment I'm doing the sausage egg muffin. Now let's take a look at it now. Alright, so there's what it looks like, so let's get it reviewed now. Right, so overall, it mostly had like an egg flavor to it. There really wasn't much else other than like some cheese flavor, but I didn't really notice the sausage in it much. But either way, I would give this like a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating. But either way, I'm just not really a big fan of it. But I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so for this one I'm doing the sausage, egg, and cheese griddle and biscuit. Now, I got the griddle one with the rewards points, so let's take a look at them now. So there's what the griddle one looks like, and there's the biscuit, so let's review them now. Right, so overall for the griddle one, it mostly just had like the pancake and syrup flavor from the buns, but other than that I didn't really notice like any of the other flavors. The egg didn't have any flavor at all to it, but overall I would give this sandwich a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the biscuit now. Alright, so overall the biscuit was pretty similar to the griddle. Like the contents of the sandwich didn't really have much flavor to it, but the really the only thing I really noticed was like the biscuit itself. But other than that, I would give the biscuit one a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so YouTube, for this one I'm doing the bagel one, so let's take a look at it now. Alright, so here's what it looks like, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall the bagel kind of like overpowered everything else. Now, the bagel was still dense, but overall there really wasn't much flavor. I wasn't really impressed by this, but I would give it like a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for the miscellaneous breakfast items, there isn't much for the breakfast that I'm doing. There's the strawberry and grape jams, there's the hash brown burrito and the oatmeal, but I think that's everything for this part of the video. But I'm gonna start off with the jellies first, so let's look at them. So there's what the strawberry one looks like, and then there's the grape, but there's the hash brown. So let's start off with the grape jelly with the strawberry jelly first. Alright, so overall it had a nice strawberry flavor to it. Now, for me it tastes like the stuff you can get at, like, say, Walmart, but overall I do enjoy it. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the grape one now. Right, so overall it had a nice grape flavor to it, but I think it tastes like the store-bought stuff as well. But overall I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating as well. But now I enjoyed both of the jellies. Well, as far as I'm aware of, they're still being but as far as I'm aware of, they're still free to get at McDonald's. So let's move on to the hash brown now. Alright, so overall, that was one of the better hash browns I had from McDonald's. Now, it had like a nice amount of like crunchiness, and it was also moist too, but it wasn't like overly moist. But overall I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. But it must have been like a fresher one. But either way, let's take a look at the oatmeal now. Alright, so there's what it looks like. Let's review it now. Alright, so overall that had like a brown, like a cinnamon flavor with like raisins, but those were like the two main flavors of it. Now, there is like a raisin pack that comes with it, but before I started recording I mixed everything together, but I didn't really taste like the apples in it this time around. But other than that, I would give this a 8 out of 10 rating as well. Now, I have burritos, the burrito and hot cakes left to do for the miscellaneous breakfast stuff. But either way, I'll do both of them in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this one I'm doing the burrito, so let's take a look at it now. So here's what it looks like. But there's like some of the like burrito mix, so let's get it reviewed now. Alright, so overall for the burrito, it mostly has like an egg and cheese flavor to it, but overall it's still pretty good. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but I couldn't really taste the sausage much in it. But either way, like I said, I still like it. But I like it most with the hot picante sauce, so I'll see you guys when I go to review the hot cakes. Ready to finish this part up, let's do the pancakes, so let's take a look at them first. Okay, so there's what they look like, so let's review them now. Alright, so overall the pancakes were nice and soft and fluffy as well, and the syrup mix as well with the butter, but overall I would give this an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but this is one of my more favorite breakfast items, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this segment I'm doing the caramel and mocha frappe. Now my McDonald's lemonade machine is having some issues and it needs fixed, so to make like editing a little easier on me, I'm gonna do the lemonades towards the end of the video. Now I just wanted to edit the video over time so it's not as long of a process for me, so let's start off with the mocha one first. But here's what it looks like. Alright, so overall it had a nice chocolate flavor to it. Now, I want to say it was leaning a little more towards like a milk chocolate kind of a flavor, but also while maintaining that dark chocolate flavor. That's really the best I can describe it, but either way, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, so let's move on to the caramel one now. Alright, so overall the flavoring is more of a salted caramel flavor to me, but either way it's still pretty good. The flavor to me is in the middle, faint and bold, but overall it still tastes good. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating as well. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this one I'm doing the smoothies now. Here's the strawberry banana one. Then here's the mango pineapple one, but I'm gonna start off with the mango pineapple one first. Overall, it has a good mango and pineapple flavor to it. Overall, it's pretty good. I would say that it has a little more of a pineapple flavor to it, but overall, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but overall, it was decent for me. So, let's review the strawberry banana one now. Alright, so overall for the strawberry banana one, it could have been blended better, but there's still some ice chunks. It wasn't as smooth as the mango pineapple one, but other than that, the strawberry banana flavor was still pretty good. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating as well, but for me, I would kind of say that the strawberry flavor was the little more dominant flavor in this one, but alright, so for this one, I'm doing the Americano and hot chocolate, so let's start off with the hot chocolate one first. Alright, so overall for the hot chocolate one, it has a nice chocolate flavor to it. Now, it is a little more sweeter, which I don't mind at all, but overall I would give the hot chocolate a 9 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the Americano now. Alright, so overall it tasted horrible. It's like what I said, it was watered down espresso, but overall it wasn't really an enjoyable experience. I would give it a 5 out of 10 for the rating, but other than that, the flavors really it tasted like dirt. That's about it, but I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so to wrap up this part of the cafe reviews, I have the mochas and the macchiatos. Now, the macchiato, they both have a iced and hot version, but the macchiato has only caramel. But either way, I'm gonna start off with the mochas first, so I'm gonna do iced first. Alright, so overall for that one, the coffee and the cream and the milk were well balanced, but the coffee flavor was a little more dominant, but not by very much. But I would give it an 8 out of 10. Now, I didn't really taste the chocolate syrup in it as much, but either way it was still pretty good. So let's move on to the hot version. Alright, so overall it was the same thing other than it being hot, but for this I felt like the coffee wasn't as strong as it was in the iced version of it, but either way I would still give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. But let's move on to the macchiato, starting off with the iced one first. Alright, so overall, the coffee there wasn't really any coffee flavor to it. For me, I really only tasted the milk and caramel syrup, but either way, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, but it was enjoyable, but like I said, it was mostly just milk and the caramel syrup. So let's move on to the hot version now. Alright, so overall for the hot version, the flavors were more well balanced in it. Now, the coffee was very slightly more dominant in it, but either way it was still good. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. Now, between all four of these, I liked the iced macchiato the most, but either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this segment, I'm re-reviewing the strawberry banana smoothie, then I'm doing the cappuccinos. Now, there's 4 different ones that I'm doing. There's the plain one, a regular vanilla, a sugar-free vanilla, and caramel. Now, I was gonna do a mocha one, but then I realized that that's just essentially a hot mocha, so I just excluded that flavor from the cappuccino. So let's But here's what the smoothie looks like, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall it has a smoother consistency to it now. I would definitely say the banana is the dominant flavor in it, but overall the strawberry still has a good part in it as well, so I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. Now it doesn't taste bad for not having yogurt in it, but my McDonald's just ran out of yogurt, but I've had them with yogurt and it really didn't make that much of a difference. So to start off the cappuccinos, I am gonna do the plain one. I just need to find it first. Alright, so with the cappuccino, the milk is the dominant flavor in it now. The espresso dirt flavor isn't as noticeable in it, but it's still faint and you can still notice it. So, but either way, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating. So. Right, so YouTube, to start off the lunch sandwiches, I'm doing the cheeseburger and the hamburger. Now, both of these are like the regular ones, so let's take a look at them now. Right, so there's what the cheeseburger one is and the hamburger. As you can see there, it's not much different, so let's get them reviewed now. Alright, so overall it had a basic flavor to it. Now for me it's just pretty basic for a cheeseburger, so I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but either way, I would say the cheese was the dominant flavor in it, so let's move on to the hamburger now. Alright, so overall for the hamburger, I'd say the salt and pepper is the main flavor from it, but other than that, I would say that it was a pretty basic flavor as well. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating as well, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment I'm doing the McChicken and the regular McCrispy, so let's take a look at them now. So here's the McChicken. It has lettuce and mayo. Then here's the crispy. It gets butter and pickles on it. So I'm gonna start off with the McChicken first. Alright, so overall for the McChicken, I'd say the flavors mix together real well with the lettuce, mayo, and the chicken patty, but either way, for me, I would give this an 8 out of 10 as well for the rating, but either way, it's a decent sandwich, so let's move on to the crispy one now. Alright, so overall for the McCrispy, I'd say that it has a better chicken flavor to it now, but I think it has a little more of a lemon flavor to it as well compared to the McChicken, where it has more of like a pepper flavor, but either way, I like the crispy more between the two McChickens, but I would give the crispy an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this one, I'm doing the spicy crispy. Now, I did order it light because, like, light on the sauce because the regular amount there's usually just too much for me to enjoy it. So, let's look at it now. So, there's what it looks like. So, let's review it now. Alright, so overall, I think the spicy sauce mixes together real well with the crispy patty, but overall, I do enjoy this a lot. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, but I've always kind of enjoyed like the regular crispy more, so, but either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment I'm doing the Big Mac, so let's take a look at it now. Alright, so here it is, and there's what it looks like, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall for that, I mostly just tasted the bread, lettuce, and Big Mac sauce, but overall, it was pretty decent. Now, it's not really my favorite sandwich. I know it's like their signature sandwich, but either way, I would give it like a 7 out of 10 for the rating, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. So for this one, I'm doing the quarter pounder. Now they ran out of slivered onions, so I just said that the dehydrated onions are fine. So let's take a look at it now. Alright, so here's what it looks like. So let's get it reviewed now. Now, before I forget, I ordered this how it regularly comes. Well, obviously besides the onions, but let's get into it now. Alright, so overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But overall, the patty was juicy, which I mean they're all made to cook to order for the quarter pounders, from what I understand. But overall, this has kind of always been my favorite sandwich from McDonald's, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this one I'm doing the filet, and this should be the last lunch sandwich for me to do, but let's take a look at it now. So there's what it looks like. It gets cheese and tartar sauce, but either way, let's review it now. Alright, so overall that was a fresher filet. Overall it has a decent fish flavor, but overall I never really liked it as a sandwich. I would give it like a 6 out of 10 for the rating. Now, but like I said, I've never been a fan of the fish fillet, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment I'm doing the steak, egg, and cheese bagel, so let's take a look at it now. Alright, so there's what it looks like. As you can see, it gets folded egg on it and also onion, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall, it had a good flavor to it. Now, the steak was fresh off the grill. It was made fresh just before I went on break, but either way, that's why I chose to start off with the bagel, and the steaks just in general, because I know it was made fresh. But either way, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But this was one of the better like steak bagels I had. Well, I guess compared to like the breakfast sandwich video. But either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment I'm doing the steak, muffin, and griddle, so let's take a look at them. Alright, so there's obviously the muffin and the griddle, so let's review them now. Alright, so overall the steak in this was fresh as well, which I do love. Now, I do believe both of these were made fresh, like the steaks at least, but either way, for the muffin, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But for me, it mostly had like a steak flavor, which I do like, so let's move on to the griddle now. Alright, so overall for the griddle one, to me it mostly had like the bun flavor, which I do like. Now I am pretty sure it's like a pancake and syrup flavor, but either way I do enjoy this one as well. But I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, to wrap up the steak sandwiches, I'm doing the biscuit one, so let's look at it now. Alright, so there's what it looks like, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall that tasted good as well. Now, it was the steak ones, I've somehow managed to get them all like freshly cooked. But I didn't special request it or anything, but that's just how it wound up being. But either way, I would give the biscuit an 8 out of 10 for the rating. But so far the steak muffin has been my favorite breakfast sandwich, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, to start off for the bacon sandwiches, I have the biscuit and griddle, so let's take a look at them now. Alright, so there's what the biscuit one looks like, and here's the griddle. So I'll start off with the biscuit first, but let's get into it now. Alright, so overall, the biscuit had a nice amount of butter on it. For me, it was like the perfect amount of butter. It made the biscuit like not too dry and it also wasn't like too much butter as well. But either way, the cheese kind of had a slightly more dominant flavor compared to the others. But let's move on to the griddle one now. Right, so overall I would say the griddle buns were the dominant flavor in this, and the bacon was like the second flavor I tasted the most. But either way, like both of these sandwiches really didn't have much flavor to them, but in a way I would give them both a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. So YouTube, I'm doing the muffin one now, so let's take a look at it. Alright, so there's what it looks like, so let's get it reviewed now. Right, so overall it mostly has like a bacon and cheese flavor to it, but overall it is one of the better like bacon sandwiches I had for the breakfast menu. But either way, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, to finish up the breakfast sandwiches, I have the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit and bagel, so let's take a look at them now. So there's what the bagel looks like, and here's what the biscuit looks like. So I'll start off with the bagel first. Right, so overall for the bagel, it mostly had like a bread flavor to it, but other than that, the bacon had a slight flavor to it, like a bacon flavor. But the sauce, I didn't really taste as much, but the cheese I could somewhat taste. But I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the biscuit one now. Alright, so overall for the biscuit one, there really wasn't much flavor to it. I would give it a 7 out of 10, but for me it mostly just had a biscuit like taste to it. But other than that, I think the steak, egg, and cheese muffin was my favorite sandwich out of like this run of like the breakfast like sandwich review. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, to start off the ice cream products, I have the vanilla and strawberry shakes. Now the chocolate syrup for the chocolate shake needed changed out, so I'm just going to do that in its own part. So let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at the shakes now. So as you can see, this is obviously vanilla, and that's obviously the strawberry. So let's start off with the vanilla first. Alright, so overall it had a nice vanilla flavor to it. Now I felt like it was like a basic vanilla flavoring, but overall it was still pretty good for being from a fast food place. But I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the strawberry one now. Alright, so overall it had a nice strawberry flavor to it. Now, for me, I felt like it was basic as well. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but other than that, I thought it had like a sweeter strawberry flavoring, but it was still pretty good. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, let's do the chocolate shake now. But here's what it looks like. I got a little extra chocolate in it since it was the first shake after the syrup being changed. But let's review it now. Alright, so overall it had a nice chocolate flavor to it. Now, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating as well, but for this one obviously had more flavoring added into it. But either way, like I said, I would give it an 8 out of 10 as well. But I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this one, I'm doing the sundaes. Now there's a caramel and a hot fudge one, so let's take a look at them now. So here's the caramel one, and then there's the fudge one. So I'm probably gonna start off with the caramel first, so let's get into it now. Alright, so overall the caramel and the ice cream mixes together real well. Now, this is one of my favorite ones from the ice cream selection at McDonald's, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the hot fudge one now. Alright, so overall the fudge and the ice cream mixed together real well. Now, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but the caramel one is definitely my favorite one between the two. But either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this one, I'm doing the regular ice cream as you guys see here, so let's review it now. Alright, so overall it has like a nice vanilla flavor to it. To me it kind of tastes more like of a vanilla bean flavor, but overall I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. So YouTube, for this one I'm doing the M&M flurry, so let's take a look at it now. So there's what it looks like, so let's get it reviewed now. Alright, so overall, the M&Ms mixed real well with the ice cream, but overall I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. But this one is definitely enjoyable for me, but either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, to wrap up the ice cream products, I have the Oreo flurry, so let's look at it now. So there's what it looks like, so let's get it reviewed now. Right, so overall it was mixed. For me, I thought it had a more even flavor with the Oreo and ice cream compared to the M&M one, but overall I would give the Oreo one an 8 out of 10 as well. But either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Let's move on to the regular vanilla now. Right, so overall, it tasted pretty good. The espresso flavor wasn't like it wasn't like dominant. The milk and the vanilla flavor was dominant, but either way, I enjoyed it a lot. I would give it a 9 out of 10 for the rating. Now, the vanilla cappuccino one is my favorite one so far. So let's move on to the sugar-free one now. Alright, so overall for the sugar-free one, the espresso flavor was a little more noticeable in it compared to the regular vanilla, but overall I'd still say the milk and the flavoring is the dominant flavor for this. But I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's review the caramel one now. Right, so overall for the caramel one, it had a nice like caramel flavor to it along with the milk flavor, but overall I would give it a 9 out of 10 for the rating, but I do like that the caramel is a little sweeter compared to like some other caramels I've had, but either way I enjoyed the caramel and the vanilla one the most, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so YouTube, I'm doing the lattes now. Now, I believe there's 4 different ones. There's the plain, the caramel, the regular vanilla, and the sugar-free vanilla. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do the iced versions and a hot version of like the drinks, like reviewing them basically by flavor, but I'm starting off with the vanillas first, so I'm going to do the regular vanilla first. Alright, so overall for that one, the vanilla flavor and the milk are kind of like the dominant flavors, but the espresso wasn't as noticeable in it, but I would give it a 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. So let's review the hot version now. Alright, so overall, for me, my opinions on it is still the same as the iced version, but obviously it's hot, but in a way I kind of like the hot version more, so, but I would give it a 9 out of 10. I kind of like it the most out of all of the like coffee drinks McDonald's has, so let's move on to the sugar-free one now. Alright, so overall, it basically just tasted the same as the regular vanilla, but for me it was a little, in a way it was a little sweeter, but not by much. Maybe it's just more of like a milk flavor in it, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the hot version now. Alright, so overall, as with the regular vanilla, my opinions on it are still the same as the iced version, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating as well. But either way, I like the hot versions more, so I will see you guys when I review the next set. Alright, so YouTube, to finish off the lattes, I have the plain and caramel one. Now, I'm obviously doing the both hot and iced versions of this for this part, so let's start off with the plain one first. Right, so overall it mostly just tasted like the espresso. I don't really like it as it is, but I would give it a 6 out of 10 for the rating. But other than that, I'm not a big fan. There's also like the milk also seemed to foam up a lot in this as well. But either way, let's do the iced version now of it. Alright, so overall the iced version is horrible tasting as well. Now that I think of it, I would give I would give the plain ones a 4 out of 10 for the rating. It just doesn't taste good to me, but but either way, let's start with the caramel one now. Alright, so overall, the caramel one tasted pretty good. Now, the caramel flavoring in it, made it extremely better compared to the plain version, but either way, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the hot caramel latte, but let's move on to the iced version now. Alright, so overall, the iced version tasted pretty good as well. In a way, I kind of like the hot version more, but either way, the iced version holds up pretty good, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. Now, for the lattes, I would say that the regular vanilla is my favorite one out of all of the lattes that I did, preferably the hot version, but either way, I think the cappuccinos are my favorite coffee products from McDonald's, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, let's review McDonald's orange juice now. Alright, so overall, it tasted how I expected. There really isn't nothing special about this orange juice, but, for me, it's a pretty basic flavor, but I would give it a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating. Now, for me, the flavor was a little off. For me, it was just like a little more syrupy, but I know at least at McDonald's, there's like an orange juice syrup and a water ratio that has to be met, but maybe they might not have known that their orange juice machine is not calibrated right. So either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Great, so YouTube, to start off the miscellaneous lunch items, I have the crispy strips, so let's take a look at them now. Alright, so there's what they look like, so let's get them reviewed. Alright, so overall the breading had a nice crunch to it, but it also had like a very little bit of like a pepper and lemon flavor to it, but the lemon and pepper flavoring I taste wasn't very noticeable, but overall I would give it an 8 out of 10. So let's take a look at the fries now. Alright, so there's what they look like, so let's review them now. Great, so overall, it had like a nice crunchy like outer layer with like a fluffy inside, but overall these were pretty good, and for me they had the right amount of salt on them, but overall I would give the fries a 9 out of 10 for the rating. But overall, one of McDonald's fries are in my top 3 for fast food fries, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so for this segment I'm doing the slushies, but either way there's 3 in total, so let's look at them now. Alright, so here's the Coke, then there's the Hawaiian Punch, then there's the blue raspberry one, so let's review it now. Right, so overall, the slushy the Coke one had a smooth, like, Coke flavor to it, which I expected, but either way it was decent. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10, so let's move on to the Hawaiian Punch one now. Alright, so overall it has like a fruit punch flavor to it, but either way, there was like the slushy, it was a little thicker and a little more solid, but it wasn't very much different compared to the Coke. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, so let's move on to the blue raspberry one now. Alright, so overall, it had like a nice blue raspberry flavor to it. Now, I did enjoy it a lot. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but either way, I think I like the blue raspberry one more, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment, I'm doing the apple juice, both milks, and the apple slices, so let's take a look at them now. So there's what the apple slice looks like. Now I only dug one out of the bag, then there's the milks, then the apple juice is obviously in a carton, so let's start off with the apple juice. Alright, so overall it has a nice apple flavor to it. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. It's pretty decent for apple juice, so let's move on to the white milk. Alright, so overall for me, I think it tastes more watered down compared to like whole milk, but either way, I've always enjoyed whole milk the most out of any kind of milk, but for this one, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10, so let's move on to the chocolate milk now. Alright, so overall the chocolate milk has a decent flavor to it. It's not necessarily my favorite one, but I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating, but I don't really know how to describe milk, like the regular white milk flavor, but either way, let's move on to the apple slices now. Alright, so overall it tastes pretty good. Now, it reminds me of like the Granny Smith apples, but I'm pretty sure like the scale, like the flavor scale they use for apples is, I think like, and I believe one end is sweet and the other is bitter, but I don't remember. I don't eat apples on a regular basis, but either way, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, so I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this segment, I'm doing the snack wraps and the nuggets now. There's a ranch and spicy wrap, and the nuggets I'm just reviewing as is, so let's take a look at them now. And there's the spicy one. There's the ranch one. As you can see, there's the ranch sauce. Then there's the nuggets. So I'm gonna start off with the nuggets first. Alright, so overall, it had like a nice like cone like breading to it. I enjoyed it a lot. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, but either way, the breading was nice and crunchy, and the meat part was like also juicy. But either way, let's move on to the spicy wrap now. Alright, so overall, the spicy sauce is the dominant flavor in it, but other than that, I really only tasted the lettuce, but that's really about it. I would give the wraps a 7 out of, well, the spicy one, a 7 out of 10 for the rating, so let's move on to the ranch one now. Alright, so overall for the ranch one, the flavors were more well balanced in it, like between the ranch sauce, the chicken strip, the lettuce, tortilla, and the shredded cheese on it. But overall, I would give the ranch one an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so YouTube, let's review the cookie now, so let's take a look at it. So there's what it looks like. Let's get it reviewed now. Alright, so overall it was nice and soft, but it also had like a nice chocolate flavor to it as well. Now, this is my favorite like bakery item from McDonald's, but I would give it a 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so YouTube, for this first like segment of sauces I'm gonna be doing the barbecue, the regular mustard, hot mustard, honey mustard, ketchup, and mayo. Now I got the 10-piece nuggets. Now I got the 10-piece nuggets while they were the 2 for $6 deal, so that was just easier for me to do it now while I can kind of get it cheap, because there's like, I believe like 13 different sauces from McDonald's. So let's get into it now. Well, let's take a look at the sauces now. As you can see, the ketchup, mustard, and mayo are all in packets. Well, but here's like what the barbecue looks like. Hot mustard and honey mustard. So I'm gonna probably have to peel these off, but now you guys know like the order of it. Alright, so I'm starting off with ketchup first, so let's get into it now. Alright, so overall it had a nice ketchup flavor to it. Now, for me it's like a regular ketchup flavor. There really isn't anything that stands out to me about it. But overall I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the mayo now. Right, so overall the mayo had a nice like creaminess to it. Now, it's what I kind of expected of mayo, but for me there really wasn't, like I didn't really taste much in it. But overall I would give it like a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the mustard now. Alright, so overall for me, it's what I expected of like regular mustard. Now, it does have a decent amount of flavor to it, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the, I want to say it's the spicy mustard, the hot mustard now. Right, so overall, it had a decent, you too, thanks. Right, so overall, it had a nice hot mustard flavor to it. Now, for me, it wasn't really spicy at all, but for me, it was just more of like a dialed down mustard flavor. But either way, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the honey mustard now. So overall for the honey mustard, it was a nice mixture of like sweet and like the mustard flavor. Now, the sweetness was slightly more dominant, but either way I didn't really taste the mustard much in it, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Now, I miscounted the sauces. There's 14 in total, so for this segment at least, I'm gonna do the buffalo one as well, so let's look at it before I forget. So there's what it looks like, so I'll move on to the barbecue one now. Alright, so overall for the barbecue one, it had like a nice barbecue flavor to it. Now, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but it reminds me of like the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called, but overall it was a good barbecue sauce. So let's finish this up with the spicy buffalo now. Alright, so overall the buffalo sauce it had a nice amount of like spiciness to it. Now, it reminds me of like Frank's Red Hot sauce, but that's what I guess it's buffalo sauce. Like Frank's buffalo sauce, that's what this reminds me of a lot, but I would give it an 8 out of 10 as well for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so YouTube, I forgot there's a total of 17 sauces in total. I forgot about the picante sauces for the burritos and breakfast sauce, but I'm gonna do like one more sauce for this like part of the video, but for like the second part of the sauces I'll do like 8 in total. Well, I guess it would be like 9 in total, but either way I'm doing honey, so let's look at it. So there's what the honey looks like. Let's review it. Alright, so overall the honey itself It tasted really good, but it does not combine well with nuggets. For like the honey by itself, I would give it a 9 out of 10. But with the nugget, with like dipping it in the nuggets, I would give it like a 5 out of 10. It's one of the worst like sauce like combinations for the like sauces I've had, but either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Great, so YouTube, for this segment I'm doing the rest of like the nugget sauces and the sauces from the grill as well, so let's take a look at them. So there's like the crisp, there's like the snack wrap ranch, then I have regular ranch, sweet and sour. Well, I better take these off so you guys can see what they look like. Then there's the sweet and sour, and here's the creamy chili one, spicy pepper, Big Mac sauce, and tartar sauce. So I'm gonna start off with the snack wrap ranch first. Alright, so overall that was one of the best ranch sauces I've had. I think I want to say it was like a buttermilk ranch, but it also had like some pepper in it as well, which I do enjoy a lot. For that one, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, but that is my favorite ranch that I've had. But let's move on to the regular ranch now. Right, so overall for the regular ranch, I think it tasted more like watered down compared to the snack wrap ranch, but either way it just wasn't really as enjoyable as like what I wanted it to be. But either way, I would give it like a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the sweet and sour sauce. Alright, so overall for the sweet and sour, I'd say that it was mostly like a sweet flavor compared to like a sour one, but either way, to me it just wasn't really enjoyable as I was expecting it. But I would give it a 7.5 out of 10 for the rating for it. So let's move on to the creamy chili sauce. Right, so overall it had like a nice like chili flavor to it. Now, for me it wasn't really creamy as much, but either way it's still one of my, to me it's my favorite nugget sauce that I can get. But now I just enjoy it the most out of all of the sauces. But I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 as well. But let's move on to the spicy sauce now. Right, so overall I definitely would say that the spicy sauce is the spiciest sauce McDonald's has now. It gets put on like the spicy snack wrap and the spicy McCrispy, but for me, like, I can eat it, but for me, if there's like too much of the sauce on it, it kind of just ruins it. But either way, I would rate it a 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the Big Mac sauce. Right, so overall, for me, the Big Mac sauce had a good flavor to it, but for me, it kind of reminds me more of like a salad, like dressing kind of a thing. But either way, it was still enjoyable. I don't really know how to like I don't really know how to describe the flavor other than it being decent, but I would give it a 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the tartar sauce. Alright, so overall it mostly had like a sour flavor to it, but I didn't really enjoy it as much. But now, to me, like this, for me, the tartar sauce is the sauce I don't is. For me, the tartar sauce is my least favorite sauce from McDonald's. I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10 for the rating, but either way, I'll see you guys when I go to review the breakfast sauces. Right, so YouTube, for this one, I'm doing the breakfast sauce, so let's take a look at it now. So there's what it looks like. I couldn't find like the bottom part of like the 2-ounce sauce container, so right, so there's what it looks like. Now I couldn't find the actual container for the like sauces from the kitchen, so I just used a lid from it. So let's review it now. Right, so overall, to me it was like a mayo-based sauce, but for me it had like a strange flavor to it, kind of like tartar sauce mixed with mayo, I want to say, but I don't really know how to describe it other than it was like weird tasting. But I would give it like a 6 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Right, so YouTube, to finish up the sauces, I'm doing the mild and hot picante sauces for the burritos. So let's start off with the mild one first. Right, so overall, for me, there really wasn't much flavor to the mild one, but in a way, I could still taste like the picante sauce. But either way, it's still a good flavor, other than it not really being prominent in the burrito. But either way, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the hot one now. Right, so overall, the only real difference between the two is that the hot one has a bolder like flavor to it, but for me it's not like hot or anything. But in a way I like it more compared to the mild sauce. But I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this one I'm doing the mango pineapple. I'm doing all 3 refreshers, but the first one is the mango pineapple one with strawberry boba. There's a blackberry passion fruit with dragon fruit bits in it, and a strawberry watermelon one with strawberry bits in it. on the package it said it was like freeze-dried strawberries, but it's essentially the same as like dehydrated strawberries. So let's take a look at them now. Okay, so there's the mango pineapple one. Then here's the blackberry passion fruit and the strawberry watermelon one. So I'm just gonna go from left to right, or how I introduce them as. So let's get her started. Alright, so overall it has a nice flavor to it. Now, for me it was mostly the mango was slightly more dominant in it, but the pineapple still had a good amount of presence in the drink as well. Now, I do enjoy it, and I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the blackberry passion fruit one now. Alright, so overall, the passion fruit was a little more dominant, but for me it was essentially the same as the mango pineapple, other than the flavors being different. But I'd say the passion fruit was a little more dominant compared to the blackberry in it. But either way, I would give it an 8 out of 10 rating as well. So let's move on to the strawberry watermelon now. Right, so overall the strawberry was a little more dominant, but the watermelon in it I could taste a little more compared to the other two, where the slightly less dominant flavor wasn't as but the watermelon had a little more presence in it compared to like the blackberry and the pineapple and the other two drinks. But overall, the strawberry watermelon one is my favorite between the three, but I would give it a 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. But I'll see you guys in the next segment. Great, so YouTube, for this one I'm doing the craft sodas, which there's a orange dreamsicle that's made with the high C orange, a Sprite berry blast, which is Sprite with blue raspberry syrup and cold foam, and a dirty Dr. Pepper. Now, the dreamsicle and the dirty Dr. Pepper both have vanilla syrup in them along with cold foam. So let's take a look at them now. So there's the orange dreamsicle, the Sprite berry blast, and the dirty Dr. Pepper. So let's review them now, starting off with the dreamsicle. Alright, so overall, it had a nice dreamsicle flavor to it. Now, the vanilla in it was a little more stronger than what I'm really used to for like an orange cream soda, but either way, it's still really good. I would give it a 9 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the Sprite Berry Blast now. Alright, so overall, it had like a nice mixture of the lemon lime soda from the Sprite, like the lemon lime flavor from Sprite, and the blue raspberry flavor. They mixed together real well. Now, The blue raspberry syrup was more dominant, but either way, it still tasted good. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. So let's do the dirty Dr. Pepper now. Right, so overall, it tasted great, amazing as well. Now, I kind of expected I anticipated the flavor of it because, prior to this review, I have made a dirty Dr. Pepper at home, but it wasn't the same method as the, it's not the same as like how McDonald's make it. I did it a different way at home, but either way, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so YouTube, for this part, I'm gonna be battling both versions of the lemonade that McDonald's has now. With the new refreshers, the refreshers lemonade is made from a concentrated mix with water and the concentrated stuff. Then there's what they call the premium, which is which is like the regular lemonade that McDonald's sells. Now, here's what the concentrated mix looks like. Then here's what the premium one looks like. So let's start off with the premium one first. Right, so overall, it's a little sour, but for me it's tolerable, but I love it a lot. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating of it. So let's move on to the concentrated stuff. Right, so overall for the concentrated stuff, for the concentrated version, it was more sour compared to the premium version, but the premium version is also made from a syrup which I believe is like Minute Maid lemonade syrup. So, but other than that, I would give the concentrated mix one a 8 out of 10 for the rating. So, but as you guys can tell, I like the syrup version more compared to the concentrated one that they have. But either way, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so to make like this last cafe drink part, 12 drinks, I'm gonna do like 4 different like off the menu drinks. Now there's gonna be a caramel mocha hot chocolate, which I did like 2 pumps of the mocha syrup and 2 pumps of the caramel syrup in a small cafe cup. Now, whenever I first started at McDonald's, they had a caramel mocha syrup that was already like pre-mixed, but it was discontinued. Then the other drink I have is a vanilla root beer. So let's start off with the root beer first. Alright, so overall, the vanilla syrup and the root beer mixed together real well. Now, I enjoyed a lot. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the rating, but it's definitely different and I do enjoy it a lot. So let's move on to the caramel mocha hot chocolate now. Right, so overall, the caramel and the chocolate syrup mixes together real well. I think this is the most well balanced like flavor I ever had from any drink, but either way I love it a lot. I would give it a 9 out of 10 for the ratings, but now either way, since McDonald's released the new drinks, I've been using like the sippy lids a lot more on sodas. Just I guess it's just more of a convenience or preference kind of thing. But I will see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so to finish off the drinks, I'm doing Dr. Pepper. Both of these are Dr. Pepper. One has blue raspberry. One has blue raspberry syrup in it, and the other has vanilla, but I'm gonna start off with the blue raspberry one first. Alright, so overall, it reminds me of the Dr. Pepper Dark Berry that they did a couple of times, for a couple of different movies. It was a limited time, like, drink flavor, but either way, I loved it as a drink, but other than that, this recreation of it, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the rating, but let's move on to the vanilla one now. Alright, so overall, it reminds me of like the glass bottle Dr. Pepper a lot. I guess in a way it has like a bolder vanilla flavor in it from at least the bottles I've had recently as of this video, but before, but I remember whenever I first had it, like the glass bottle Dr. Pepper is more of a black cherry flavor, but for the vanilla Dr. Pepper I made, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 rating as well. So I will see you guys when I go to do the outro for the video. Right, so I found out the refreshers can be made with water as well. Now, I didn't know about that until after I did the previous segment, but either way, I chose to include it in the video, so let's take a look at them now. I don't think they look very different from the lemonade versions, but either way, I'm obviously going to go from left to right, so let's start reviewing these. Right, so overall, it really only had a strawberry flavor to it. I didn't notice the watermelon flavor as much, but other than that, it was more on the faint side of the flavors, but I would give it like a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the blackberry passion fruit one now. Right, so for that one, it mostly just had like a passion fruit flavor to it. It wasn't bad or anything, but it also wasn't my favorite. Like I still think the lemonade version is better, but I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating. So let's move on to the mango pineapple one now. Right, so overall it mostly had a mango flavor to it, but Other than that, I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the rating. Now, overall, these weren't bad, but I just prefer the lemonade versions more compared to the water-based versions. But other than that, they're not bad for being flavored water with fruit bits in it. So I'll see you guys in the next segment. Alright, so before I officially end this video, I just wanted to go over some things. Now, I didn't eat or drink most of these items that I reviewed in the video. Now, there was a handful of stuff I did fully eat or drink, but mostly I just took a bite or a sip from the items I did, and just to get like a general idea of how it tasted for the video. But other than that, I think I only fully ate like the burritos and like the chicken biscuit and griddle. Then I ate the quarter pounder fully, and the hamburger and cheeseburger as well with the nuggets. But other than that, that's really the only things I fully ate. Now, the nuggets was the most I ate in a short time frame of doing these segment parts for the video, but that's because they had the 2 for $6 deal on the 10-piece nuggets, so I just did all the sauces while that deal was going on so I could save some money. But other than that, I'd use coupons in the mobile app alone with my employee discount for McDonald's, but I spent as less money as I could on it. I tried making it the cheapest I could for myself. But other than that, the items I enjoyed the most out of this video was the burritos with hot sauce, the chicken griddle and biscuit, and quarter pounder. Now, as you guys could tell, the McChicken griddle and biscuit, along with the burritos, would be my 3 choices for a breakfast meal. Then, but as long as the hash browns aren't old, I enjoy them. But more often than not, they've just never really were moist for me. So I usually just get just the items and not the meal. But for the lunch menu, I would either get the quarter pounder with light onions and sub crinkle cut pickles, or the 10-piece nugget with the creamy chili. Now, drink wise, I would usually get a Dr. Pepper or a hot chocolate, but on the occasion I would get the lemonade. But other than that, that's really it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.